Hi, everyone. This is Michelle Gramoglia, the President and CEO here at Woodland Pond, and this is my weekly address for Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, January 6th, 2026. I have a number of items that I wanted to go through today, and I think that I will start with a little bit of update related to the message that went out on Constant Contact yesterday twice, and is posted on our Facebook page related to what we are referring to as our pilot agreement and the current situation. And it occurred to me, based on some email correspondence that I had with residents yesterday, that we used the term pilot as if everyone knew what that was. And that is I will put in a mea culpa on that on my part, because of course, unless you're dealing with these kinds of things on a regular basis or paying close attention to the news, you may have no idea what that means. Totally understandable. So what a pilot is in this case is referring to a payment in lieu of taxes. So the first letter of each of those words becomes an acronym pilot. And these are negotiated agreements between typically a not-for-profit, but sometimes a for-profit entity, where a predetermined payment in lieu of taxes is identified, negotiated, and put in place for a long-term period of time. And what that does is it ensures that both for the recipients of the payments and also the payer, which in our case, we are the payer, have a predictable schedule of payments. So they wouldn't be taxed by the tax assessor per se, although we do receive bills for our pilot payments. It's a way to sort of come to an agreed upon amount of what the payment should be annually and then have a schedule. So it's very commonly used in not-for-profit type situations, especially in development related things where you have properties that are going to be developed and so forth. So when Woodland Pond was originally approved and constructed, Woodland Pond was negotiated a pilot with the taxing entities at the time, back in, this was probably 2005, 6, or 7 timeframe, but we negotiated a 20-year pilot. And that pilot agreement attaches to the existing parcel that Woodland Pond has owned since we've opened. And so every year we pay a predetermined amount of total payments in lieu of taxes. For 2025, that was $1,015,000, and for 2026, that is $1,065,000. And for the next several years until that 20-year pilot expires, we will make those predetermined payments. What changes from year to year is how that payment gets split up. And so we receive a payment in lieu of taxes or pilot bill from each of the recipients annually, totaling to what will this year be $1,065,000, for example. Historically, the largest recipient of our annual pilot payments has been the New Paltz Central School District. And for 2025, for example, if our total payment was $1,015,000, which it was, the school district payment was just under $600,000, as I recall. And then we also make smaller payments to Ulster County itself, the town and the village of New Paltz, New Paltz Fire Department, and the New Paltz Rescue Squad. And each of those the pie gets split up, and we make those payments annually. Typically, the first payments are required in January, with the other bills for each of those entities going out in February, and sometimes they lag into March a little bit. But the entire negotiated payment in lieu of taxes or pilot that Woodland Pond has is paid by the end of the first quarter each year. The question at hand, which prompted yesterday's announcement, is that we have two things that we're going to be discussing, contemplating, evaluating, and that will be both internally as a management group and board of directors, but also with the help of not only our own legal counsel, but legal counsel at the taxing authorities and so forth, to understand what real property tax law applies to both the existing parcel and the new parcels that we're acquiring. Those laws change regularly. Who qualifies for exemptions versus pilots versus traditional billing changes regularly. And we have a lot that we need to evaluate, and none of that has begun in earnest. The board will be having our first full conversation at the January board meeting, but we felt it important to highlight the fact that the planning board application that we are submitting related to the expansion site plan will include an indication that we may seek a pilot agreement on that parcel. And the reason that we included that so early in that application process is because we are very much committed to having these discussions with public overview, with public understanding of what we're discussing and how we are coming to conclusions eventually. These discussions are going to take time. We have predetermined nothing yet, and the first focus of our group is going to be to make sure that our current management team, current board of directors, are very familiar with the history of how our existing pilot agreement came to be, and also preliminary feedback that we have from legal counsel on what things we need to be considering related to the expiration of our existing pilot and pilots in general in New York State for a project, for example, like our expansion. So this is really just notifying everyone that the discussion is coming. We expect that it's going to take time. We understand that there are a lot of sensitivities. There are some proponents of pilot agreements and some real opponents of pilot agreements. And I think that it really depends on where your perspective is coming from. But it is something that we need to actively address, and we plan to do so upfront and with as much transparency as possible. So hopefully that provides a little bit of context there. Some dining related issues. I have been asked to remind residents to please return your plastic to-go containers after you've washed them either by hand or through your dishwasher. And they can go to the dining department on the table there next to the hostess station. We do reuse those after they're sanitized in our warewashing machine. On the topic of those takeout containers, we do hear from time to time that they can be somewhat difficult to open. These are new containers for us, and these are containers that were researched heavily at the behest of the Sustainability Committee, because it was very important for us to have reusable and 3-compartment containers, but also that did not contain some of the more concerning chemicals. So this is the right product. So we've got to work through some of that opening and closing of those containers. And the dining committee has asked, or the dining department has asked, that if you do have issues opening your to-go containers, that you please visit the hostess desk or the pub for assistance with figuring out the best way for your fingers to help open up those containers. The next announcement, I think, will be well taken by a number of you. We will be having plain side dishes available in the main dining room daily. They will change. You will have a vegetable and one or more vegetables and one or more starches that are plain, a plain preparation, meaning no spices, no seasoning, no butter. We know that you've been asking for this. You will need to just understand that they're going to come out plain, whatever the preparation is, whether it's baked or sauteed or roasted, but they will be unseasoned, unbuttered, and with no sauce. So you will look for those on your menus, and we will evaluate how that rollout goes. I'm sure that will be discussed some more at the dining committee, and we can obviously always pivot and respond if changes are needed. Effective today, the marketing office has officially made its move as part of the renovations. They were the first office to need to be relocated after Carrie Kohler was relocated to the health center activities area. Marketing is now located in apartment 321. Those new residents have been gracious and did not have an intention to move in immediately. and have allowed marketing the ability to have not only their offices there, but their discovery space, which is where we meet with new residents. So apartment 321 in the center wing is now marketing temporarily, and their offices will begin renovation. Another note related to things coming offline related to renovation. At this point, the guest room 461 has been taken offline because it will become the temporary location for Sharon's salon. It was a perfect solution, plenty of space, running water available. And, this is part of our commitment to making sure that those amenities that are really of interest and of import to our residents are being maintained. So we're very glad that we did not have to outright stop Sharon's services, but what family members that need lodging should do, if they're calling locally for places, the Hampton Inn right here down the road in New Paltz does have a Woodland Pond rate, and you can request that. So we will put that in the Chanticleer as a reminder, but you should request the Woodland Pond rate when you call the Hampton Inn. We will be emailing out a corrected Appendix A for the resident handbook. We realized after it went to print that it was an outdated list of committees. And so we will be emailing an update out for that. So that will go out in constant contact for you, and we apologize for that. The health center staff and Dr. DiNapoli in particular, who is our medical director, were in my office this morning asking, begging, pleading to make sure that everyone that's coming into the health center is masked. This is the first time Dr. DiNapoli has asked this of me to ask of you. And so I know that that means he's taking the current flu outbreak, which, knock on wood, seems to have died down quite a bit here at Woodland Pond, but is still extremely prevalent in the community at large. He's concerned about this kind of bubbling back up, and he is imploring that everyone that visit the health center, every unit, certainly masks are required for staff, but we're really asking all visitors to also please wear masks when you go into the health center, and masks are available outside of each unit. Okay, we are actually beginning today the first steps into implementing and putting in place what we talked about last week, which are the new per diem independent living resident assistant positions. And the first professional that will be helping us with this is Vicki Baker. A number of you will know Vicki from her per diem days at Concierge. She has been at Woodland Pond for about a half a year now. She's familiar with many of the residents. I know that a lot of you really like Vicki and trust her, and this was an opportunity that she was very excited about moving into. What is going to happen initially is it's going to be a little bit of trial and error. So this, again, is for those residents that have a need for a higher level of care, but because of the fact that the health center is full, we can't provide those full services. So what Vicki is going to help us do is to bridge those gaps. And certainly this would not be a replacement for someone that needs subacute rehab or skilled nursing. That's not appropriate. But this is really more for the person that needs assisted living or some assistance with activities of daily living. Now, Vicki cannot do anything clinical. This is really help in the home, helping to make sure that your space is picked up, or if you need some additional help with laundry, or if you need some help with cleaning up any kind of waste products or incontinence products, meal preparation, making sure that you have all of your appointments set. It's really kind of a personal helper. And those services are going to be deployed by Woodland Pond Resident Health and Wellness Department, which is historically Sarah's department, but she's on maternity leave. So I've actually asked Cameron Reale to help lead that program, and she and Liz Elliott, our independent living wellness RN, are going to take the lead on implementing that program. We are going to ask for patience as we roll this out, because we really need to have these things well planned for. This is not going to be a situation where someone, calls down to Concierge and says, I need Vicki's help. That's more of sort of a private duty companion type circumstance. But this is something that will be well coordinated with our entire interdisciplinary team. We just had our first meeting with that full team, and we've identified some opportunities that we plan to implement starting today, as a matter of fact. So more to come on that, and I certainly would encourage any residents or family members that have questions about what this program, although temporary, will look like. You can please direct those to Cameron Reale, our Chief Operating Officer. Moving into rumor mill and suggestion box. There's a couple here today. We have one that is says stop automatic rove, and I received an email to the same effect questioning the automatic enrollment that the rove committee decided to move forward with this year. And I will explain to the person that wrote this rumor mill or suggestion the same thing that I had indicated to that resident over the weekend. It is my recollection that this is not the first year that Rove has done an automatic enrollment with easy opt-out. I think it's been done the last couple of years, as a matter of fact, maybe with a year off in between, but I know it's been done in the past. And the decision about how to do Rove enrollment or Rove contributions is entirely determined by the resident-run Rove committee. Woodland Pond has nothing to do with how the program is administered. So if you have questions or concerns about Rove, you've made the comment to me, and I appreciate that, but really the comment needs to go to the Rove committee. So for the members of the Rove committee that are hearing this and watching, we have one comment in the box, and then we had one in my email inbox that I have not yet had a chance to tell you about. I've explained to the resident it's very easy opt-out, and it's a no judgment zone as far as I have always been told by Rove, but this has had great success and most people find it convenient, but certainly your feedback can go to the Rove committee. The next is please resume the weekly display telling us what is going on with construction. You are absolutely right. I went away, and I mentioned this last week, for the holiday, and I came back and the easel was gone. Now that everyone's back in the office today, I have located all of those items and they will be going back up. One of the things that we are going to be emphasizing is noisy days. And we're going to do our best to identify in advance the noisy days, the noisy locations, and what's happening to cause the noise. We did include that in the last one, but we didn't highlight it as much as I think would be helpful for residents. So we will be giving you advance notice of our best estimate of which days are going to be the noisy days and why, so that you can plan accordingly. Okay, this last one is very lengthy, and I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I'll just show you kind of how long it is and how it looks. And the person did sign their name, so I will separately be getting in touch with the person. The gist of the entire item from the box is related to how the decisions are made in changing the ancillary fee schedule every year. And what that's referring to is in the resident handbook, which if you have not picked yours up yet, you can pick it up one per household at concierge. Again, you can pick up your 2026 resident handbook at concierge if you've not picked it up yet. There is a section in the handbook, and has historically been, which is Appendix B, and that is the ancillary fee schedule. And if you look at it, it's got all the things that are not included in your monthly service fee, but that are available to you on a case-by-case, on-demand basis, and what the related costs are. So it includes things like the guest suite and different services that concierge can provide to you, different services that our facilities departments can provide to you, like extra housekeeping, rescheduling housekeeping, spot removal services on your carpets. There are the dining related services that are not included in your monthly service fee, things like renting rooms, personal delivery of meals when you're not on the sick list, things related to resident services, which are primarily technology based, resident health and wellness support, transportation, and so forth. And The short answer is that every year we evaluate what is it costing us to provide these services in the increments that we've identified here, and how are we ensuring that we're breaking even. And just like in the dining, with the dining price increases, these are services that increase in cost every year simply by virtue of the fact that our staff are fortunate in that we give annual cost of living adjustments. And with that, our payroll taxes rise, their benefit accruals that are attached to their pay rates rise, and we're facing the same types of inflationary impacts that any consumer would. So to make a very long story short, we must break even on these services. These are not a moneymaker, but these are specific services that are not included in your monthly service fee that you are asking us for, and we are simply looking to break even. So for example, if you need your car jumped, for example, typically that takes a half an hour-ish if we know where the car is, the staff member's available, and so forth. We can usually do that in a half an hour. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if that's one of the ancillary items on here, but I'm just using it as an example. So to make it the most simple case, we need to calculate what is the average rate of the maintenance person that would typically be assigned to do that. And we know our average rates. How much time does this take them? And then basically do the math. And we're simply needing to break even. So as you see these numbers going up, it's almost entirely driven by annual increases in our wages. And Woodland Pond has been a leader on wages, particularly in the not-for-profit sector, for many years. We have been able to provide really strong industry-leading cost of living adjustments annually to our staff. This is one of the primary reasons that our staff retention is as good as it is. We also offer leading overtime, and as well, we also offer an industry-leading match to the 403B. So all of those things are fantastic that we're able to afford to do this and still keep monthly service fee increases as low as we have been, particularly 3.5% in 2026, which is well below the industry average, and we're excited about that. But it still is a cost to us. And so when you are a resident and you're needing a service that's not part of your monthly service fee, we simply need to split those costs to you in a way that has us break even for the services that we're providing. I am happy to answer any additional questions on that. I do really appreciate you asking, and I hope that we can look at 2026 like this is a year to ask a lot of questions. There's nothing more than we like to be able to provide education, background, data. We had a fantastic, sort of data review yesterday at the Finance Committee. That's the kind of stuff that we love to be able to get into your hands, because it makes good sense if you give us the time to answer the questions. And we'll talk about this some more at the Residents Council meeting on Thursday. It's something I really look forward to enhancing and developing in 2026. That's all that I have for today. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you next Tuesday.